taking into the conference and being, giving us this interview.
Thank you for being given the opportunity.
Yeah. So, if you please highlight the various, important contributions towards the BFSI sector that your companies had.
Yes. WebIDU Solutions in Germany has addressed a long existing issue in in pure online e-commerce oriented business for the banking space. Banks typically in countries like Germany and India face regulatory requirements of identifying people in a certain manner and to be compliant with AML, anti-money laundering, KYC, know your customer regulations. And these regulations typically mandate the customer to either go into a branch to execute the identification or the bank to send someone to the customer to identify the customer. This, while typical practice in banking for online marketing and online retail is not a very efficient manner of conducting the identification, purely because there's a break. People see a campaign that the bank has launched online to some special conditions for opening an account, some extra interest rates for depositing some money with them for a certain amount of time. And in marketing, when we have created the interest in the customer and the customer has made a decision, yes, I want to purchase this product, any delays in terms of come to the bank or make an appointment with somebody to come to your house act as a turnaround point or a chance for the customer to change his mind. So typically the drop rate on such online campaigns is significant. And imagine you go to Flipkart and you see a beautiful watch or some beautiful shoes that you want to order, and then Flipkart tells you, yes, come down to our next office in such and such and we'll be glad to give you the shoes. It beats the purpose of having an online process for selling your products and your services. However, until now, banks and BFSI companies had no other choice than to do it that way in order to be compliant. And in Germany it was exactly the same situation. Until last year, when WebID has launched their services of providing an AML KYC compliant online identification process. And a little bit, as I said in the speech during the panel session, technology is only one side, but when technology, processes, methodology and people come together is when you can create something new, and when you can create something innovative. And this is what happens at WebID. WebID is not about technology. It is about technology, obviously, because it employs a certain technology to achieve and compliant online identification. But the compliance is not only achieved through technology, it's achieved through the three components: method, technology, and people. And the online identification process from WebID is a dual identification process, because it is on one side system automated, it's a system identification which validates ID documents, which matches pictures to ID documents, to IDs, and that way already creates an additional layer of security over a typical in-branch identification. Even in a branch, somebody can go with a fake ID document, and the chances of detecting it are as good as the person conducting the identification. With our technology, we have this technology support to verify, measure the document, measure the alignments, check the types, the writing and all that. The system is specifically trained for each and every document that we accept for identification, as well as a human component. After the technical verification, a human does a second layer of verification by matching again the document to the person as such. And that way we are very convinced that we create an increased, a much higher level of security in identification than you typically achieve in the banks. Also, by being a third-party provider for identification for KYC. We implement another principle which is known in revision and auditing as segregation of concerns. We do nothing else but identifications. So our primary goal is not to sell any banking products to the customer. Our agents conducting the identification, in fact, they don't even know what kind of product the client is now identifying himself for. For data protection regulations and all that. So all this is masked. All the agent knows is this person wants me to identify him. So give me some kind of ID document and show me your face, and I'll tell you, yes, you are who you claim you are. And that is what we generate there. The human layer also on top has a component which is our people are very specifically trained to conduct the identification, much more rigorous than any bank employee for conducting the identification. In fact, they are trained to check 30 psychological behavioral patterns of the customer during the identification to detect cheaters and frauds. And it's a system that was originally developed by the Israeli Secret Service, which has been adopted in our training materials. And that way we are convinced that we can provide a very high quality outsourced KYC process, which will enable the banks to a much faster turnaround time in their account openings, as well as the bank at the end gets a handmade, ready-made set of documentation, account opening form, IDs of the documents, ID of the pictures of the person. So all the following, the subsequent administrative processes on the bank side should also be much, much easier.
And how do you look at the Indian market?
The Indian market we look at with great interest, obviously, for two perspectives. A, we see a huge potential, India being a country with the largest population in the world at the moment. But we also see an opportunity in being at the vanguard of taking this technology, method and people mix to India to help the Indian government to define standards, the Indian banks to open up their distribution channels, and that is the perspective we have on India.
And how is your experience at the conference today?
The experience at the conference was very good. I met many nice and interesting people, and the quality of the speakers, I think, was also quite outstanding. So yes, I like it very much to be here.
Thank you for making it all the way, and hope to see you in various of our conferences.
Sure, hopefully. Thank you.